Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Inside Cello. In this episode, Ece and I are going to talk about Ahmed Adnan Saygun. Hello Ece.
Hello Aslıca.
Welcome to another episode of Inside Cello.
It's a pleasure to be here again.
That's great to hear. Any questions?
Okay. Who is Ahmed Adnan Saygun?
Ahmed Adnan Saygun is a Turkish composer. He lived in the 20th century.
What are the main characteristics of Ahmed Adnan Saygun's composing style?
His music is among the pioneers of the composing style that features the juxtaposition of Turkish traditional music with Western music. In his compositions, Ahmed Adnan Saygun employed both Turkish traditional instruments and Western instruments. He used traditional Western forms such as Sonata form as presenting the thematic materials that are influenced by Anatolian folk music.
What are the important points of Ahmed Adnan Saygun's educational life?
Ahmed Adnan Saygun's educational life was a great success. I don't think we have enough time to talk about every detail of his educational life. One of the most important events of his educational life is that he studied in Paris. He won a scholarship granted by Turkish Republic.
Did he write a lot of music?
Yes, he did. Ahmed Adnan Saygun was a prolific composer. He wrote symphonies, he wrote ballets, lots of music for piano. Again, I don't think I have time. We have time to talk about each composition Ahmed Adnan Saygun wrote.
Among his symphonic works, which one is your favorite?
Yunus Emre Oratorio.
Have you performed it?
Yes, I did. I think about 10 years ago, Anadolu University Symphonic Orchestra performed it in Eskişehir. I was the member in the cello section.
Why is it among your favorite symphonic works of Ahmed Adnan Saygun?
Firstly, because Yunus Emre is among my favorite poets, and Ahmed Adnan Saygun employed Yunus Emre's poems in his oratorio Yunus Emre. It's a large-scale symphonic work. There are 4 vocal soloists, full chorus, and a full orchestra. And being in that orchestra and listening to the melodic lines is really appealing to me.
Which cello works of Ahmed Adnan Saygun did you play?
I played his Opus 12 Sonata and Opus 31 Partita.
Where did you perform then on stage?
I performed Ahmed Adnan Saygun Opus 12 Sonata in Italy at the recital hall of School of Music in Mantova with an Italian colleague of mine. Opus 31 Partita I played in Eskişehir the very first time, and I also played in Poland at the music department of the University of Rzeszów. They are great compositions. They are great contributions to the cello repertoire in the 20th century. I always enjoyed performing them.
What do you think is the importance of the works for cello repertoire?
Both compositions employ cello sonorities at a really high artistic level. I could easily call them virtuoso pieces.
What do you think is the importance of the works for cello education?
As a cello teacher, of course, I have to think about the educational aspects of the compositions. I never studied them with any student of mine. Maybe we will study them in the future.
I hope so.
Have you listened to the pieces?
I did, and they're really good. I also enjoy them.
That is great to hear. When I was your age, I didn't know the compositions because back in the old times, we couldn't go online and find them easily. Anyways, what was the question? I forgot.
What do you think is the importance of the works for cello education?
Oh, education. As a cello teacher, Now I'm imagining to study Opus 12 Sonata and Opus 31 Partita with a student of mine. The first thing crosses my mind is that both of the compositions would help students get concentrated on stage because they demand a great deal of concentration as performing on stage. Let's start from the sonata. Its rhythmic structure is really complicated, I think, for me at least, and you have to really be aware what piano part is doing as you are performing the cello part. So you really need to coordinate with the pianist. In this case, I believe it would teach how to perform chamber sonata, because I think both piano and cello are equally important in Opus 12 Sonata. On the Partita, on the other hand, there are 5 movements. Each movement is built with different musical characteristics. You need to be focused on each movement.
How is Opus 12 Sonata's formal structure is organized?
Saygun Opus 12 Sonata was structured in 3-movement sonata setting. Order of the movements are fast, slow, fast. It is very common in Western music, and it was originated in the classical period of the history of music. Before then, during the Baroque times, sonatas had lots of movements. I already performed it a couple of times. I could easily call it 20th century music, but as a musician, I can always hear some characteristics of Turkish traditional music in it.
What are the important features of the Opus 12 Sonata, generally speaking?
Generally speaking, Opus 12 Sonata is a great work. It's a great contribution to the 20th century cello repertoire. It employs cello sound, virtuoso playing facilities of the cello at an artistic level, at a high artistic level. Again, I want to point that out. Different kind of cello sonorities are employed, so as practicing and as performing on stage, it is also a research on how we can obtain different kind of cello sounds in one composition, in one movement sometimes. As educational aspects, I have to think as a cello teacher, again, maybe future work of yours we are talking about. It would help students to concentrate. It would help students to learn how to concentrate on stage. It employs different areas of cello's fingerboard, both on the high and the low pitch areas. Ahmed Adnan Saygun Opus 31 Partita. It is structured in 5 movements. Each of the 5 movements is different. Each movement, I think, is an individual piece of composition. This is my personal opinion. The first movement starts with double stops played on the 4th and the 3rd strings of the cello. I think it's a mysterious beginning. You start from piano dynamic and then you do crescendo. There are lots of thematic materials that are on the high pitch areas of cello, and they are lyric and very dramatic. They are even poetic to me. That thematic materials are divided with structural connections, small motifs. The second movement of Opus 31 Partita, on the other hand, is played fast. It is expected to be played fast. It is vivo. There are also some lyric parts of it. The fast parts of the second movement is characterized by also lyric parts, and they follow each other. They are presented successively. The third movement, I have to tell, is my favorite one. It is not really played often. I haven't heard it a lot on stage. It is played when the partita is performed from beginning to the end, but as an individual piece, I am used to hearing the fourth movement. Anyways, the third movement is really lyric. It is very poetic, and for me as a cellist, the challenging aspect of the third movement is to have the continuity in the melodic lines of it, both on the bow hand and the left hand. And vibrato was another issue. You have to do vibrato in different speed, in different thematic materials on the third movement, and it has to be continuous again. The fourth movement is really famous. I heard it performed on stage individually a lot. I did the same, actually. I performed it in the United States. It is beautiful. To me, it is like a dance, but it is sorrowful dance. This is how I feel about it. It is characterized with dotted rhythms. It is structured in two movements. The second movement features use of 16-note figures. Again, there is dotted rhythms there. The fifth movement is the picture of happiness to me. I was watching myself performing it this morning, actually, because I knew I was going to talk about it today. And I wanted to remember how I felt performing it on stage. I want to talk about the last note of it. It is C string, open C string, long C string. And again, I look at my face and I'm very happy because this is the feeling I had on stage. I worked on it, I put great effort on learning the piece, and I came to the end and I could perform it on stage, and it's a great composition, and I was really happy to perform it. Now, let's go to the beginning of the fifth movement of Opus 31 Partita. It starts with pizzicato motif, and then pizzicato motif is followed by ascending melodic line, again played fast. At least I played it fast. And I think, although that pizzicato motif is the opening motif, it is used as structural connection between the different kind of thematic materials in the movement. In the end, it's a great piece. I recommend all my colleagues to perform Opus 31 Partita if they haven't already. I feel the same for Opus 12 Sonata. Both compositions, Opus 12 Sonata and Opus 31 Partita, are great contributions to the cello repertoire in the 20th century. As a cellist, I enjoy both performing them on stage and learning them. Learning process could be sometimes boring, I have to admit, because for me they were a little bit complicated, especially rhythmically. But when you play that last note, it's worth all the frustration sometimes and all the unpleasant moments of the practice times. I could see it in my smile as I performed it on stage. And I really hope you and I can work on the pieces in the future.
I hope so too.
This is the end of another Inside Cello episode. Thanks for watching. Again, thanks for joining me with Inside Cello again.
I should be the one who says thank you.
Thank you. I hope to meet all of you in the next episodes. Bye-bye.